For this week in socialist history, we begin way back in 1856. That's when stonemasons in Australia put down their tools and went on strike until the bosses agreed to an 8-hour workday. Worker rights were virtually non existent in the early days of Australia, as it was set up as a penal colony. People were forced to work upwards of 14 hours a day with no recourse. But as Australia developed, unions started to form among skilled workers in the 1830s. They were initially crushed, but by the 1860s, after Australia stopped importing prison labor, leading to a worker shortage, the unions suddenly found themselves with more power, and they used it to establish the 8-hour workday. Over months of negotiations, the workers eventually won, and employers and the government agreed to an 8-hour day while still paying the stonemasons for 10 hours of work. Now, this only applied to folks in the construction industry. The rest of Australia's workers, particularly women and children, continued to toil for longer hours and wouldn't get relief until the 20th century. And finally, this week in 1914 was the Ludlow Massacre. It started when 11,000 coal miners in Colorado went on strike against the Colorado Fuel and Iron Corporation, which was owned by the Rockefellers. The strike was called in response to the company murdering a union organizer. The workers also demanded better pay and working conditions and an end to being paid in scrip, money that could only be used in the company town. In response, the workers were all evicted from their homes in the mining town. Thankfully, they received support from their union, the United Mine Workers of America, to relocate to an area near the mines to set up housing and continue their strike. First, it was hired guns by the company that went in to clear the strikers, but the workers had armed themselves too, and after some pitched gun battles, were able to hold their positions. But then the Colorado governor sent in the National Guard to clear the workers' tent city, and on April 20th, troops moved in to the worker colony at Ludlow and started mowing people down with machine guns. The leader of the strike was lured away to discuss a truce, but it was all a trap and he was murdered by authorities. Troops set fire to the tents, and as many as 25 workers and their family members were killed in the assault, including 11 children. The massacre, though, kicked off a wave of new organizing and worker militancy across the country. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.